Hi, and welcome to the Tulsa TARDIS Rant. Today's rant is going to be about how people complain, where is the future? Where are my flying cars? Or jetpacks? Well, the real question is, what is the future and why do we think it's about flying cars? Because the future is actually now. Let's take the internet for example. It's amazing. I don't know why people aren't blown away every time they turn the computer on and access information instantaneously from all over the world. To put it in perspective, that information is either going to a satellite, which is 2,223 miles away. That would take you 38.67 hours flying at the average speed of an airline jet. And that's just one way. Granted, that would be impossible. There's escape velocity to take into consideration, but we're not talking about that. The other alternative is for you to actually go over land and sea, going from your house through copper lines to your local ISP, which is probably a DS3 pipeline there, which connects to an OC3 pipeline, and maybe even crosses the ocean on fiber optic, and then goes to another hub and reverses that entire process, only to have it come back all the same route. This process only takes a matter of milliseconds to seconds, and we're not amazed because we kind of expect it. Or let's take cell phones, a device in your hand that is communicating with the world at the push of a button. Not even a button, a touchscreen. It's so futuristic that even the original Star Trek couldn't even come up with it. But this technology is radically new. The first generation of cell phones was invented in 1977, but really didn't become populated until 1983. And it wasn't until 1989 that the first completely portable cell phone was released to the public, made by Motorola. And believe it or not, it was only 16 years ago that the first flip phone, originally called clamshell, phone was released. There was 1991, which was the official launch of the GSM 2G network, which is what most people associate to cell phones. And then about 10 years later, the 3G. And now we're up to 4G. But if you were to take your typical iPhone or Android phone back in time only 30 years, you would be considered a spaceman in technology. Granted, you probably wouldn't have a network to connect to back then. Let's suspend our disbelief for just a second here. But why aren't people amazed by these things? Why aren't these the most phenomenal technologies? Because of two things. First of all, they came slowly. They were developed out of technologies that were revolutionary at their time, but with the new developments were bulky and cumbersome and nerdy. The original cell phones were anything but sleek and sexy. No one cool would be caught dead talking on a cell phone back then. And the internet, it was for nerds up until the mid-90s. Most of the technologies hadn't even really been thoroughly tested and developed. The TCP/IP protocol suite wasn't even really made popular until 1981, but it took about 15 years before the entire world really got onto the internet bandwagon. In this time, these technologies were annoying. They were actually just creating higher demands on what we expected from our day's work. So by the time they actually got cool, by the time they were actually something people liked, they were sleek and sexy, it was more of a about time attitude. It wasn't like Flight with the Wright brothers. First time somebody saw somebody fly by in a plane, they didn't go, what a nerd. They thought, I want to do that. Or the first time that Alexander Graham Bell talked on the telephone, everyone said, that needs to be everywhere, and I want it. And it changed life forever. Which brings us to the second reason that the future now is not as exciting as we hoped it to be. These technologies aren't changing the way we live. Every day seems to be about the same. You wake up, you brush your teeth with a toothbrush, get ready for work, you drive to work in a car with 4 wheels and an engine using gasoline. You get to work, you work on a computer, and you go home. You see your family, your friends, maybe have a beer, enjoy a movie. These things have been going on for over 100 years. The only difference is maybe a faster car, a better fuel-efficient engine. You're using a computer instead of a typewriter, you're talking on a cell phone instead of a rotary. They're all improvements, but they're not jetpacks. Realize the technologies in the future are probably not going to be as radical as we think they are. There's really no need for us to have flying cars or jetpacks. And if you really want a jetpack, check out this video because they kind of do exist now, but they're more of a vacation novelty. And I hope that next time you see some teeny bopper complaining about their cell phone internet connection, you chuckle to think that they will have no idea what it was like to dial a number in a rotary motion. This is Chris with Tulsa TARDIS, helping your perspective in life.